Hello everyone, thanks for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In our top stories in this edition of the news, 4 persons have died in a road accident at Marché Sandaga here in the economic capital, Douala. The 4 persons died on the spot, and the accident occurred some few minutes ago, and we shall show you the deplorable state of roads in the country's economic hub in this newscast. It is of course one of the causes of the road accidents recorded at close intervals of time within the city of Douala. We'll also talk about inhabitants of the Adamawa region of Cameroon who are complaining over a curfew and the consequences on business and other activities within the region. The curfew was imposed by the governor since January 2019 as a result of growing insecurity in that part of the region, that part of the country. And of course, we'll talk about the rising death rate of children in Mali as a result of the crisis hitting that country. Stay with us. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the news. We'll start with this news just streaming into our studios. 4 persons have died in a road accident here in the economic capital of the Republic of Cameroon, Douala. The 4 persons were crushed to death by a truck at Marché Sandaga. The truck is said to have suffered a brake failure, which of course triggered that accident, leading to 4 persons dying on the spot. We will be bringing to you greater details and images in our subsequent news editions, and we're going to talk about the state of roads here in the economic capital, Douala. It should be noted that one of the causes of road accidents, notably in the town of Douala and elsewhere across the country, is the deplorable and even deadly state of roads. Several roads in the country's economic capital are in an advanced state of dilapidation, and the area where the accident occurred few minutes ago is a case in point in this newscast. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
Roads in Cameroon's economic hub in ruins. These large and deep potholes speak volumes of the ugly face of the country's main cities, from Marché Sandaga to the flyover leading to the second bridge over River Wuri. Vehicles are obliged to meander through the numerous potholes. Potholes, which now looks like a mini lake, has made accessibility very difficult, as explained by these road users. It is catastrophic. Look at the poor state of our roads. I don't know what is happening with authorities. Cameroonians are disappointed. Due to the bad state of the road, we always go late to school. We are praying that the government should react fast. This is just one of the numerous dilapidated state of roads here in the economic capital, Douala.
That is a problem affecting big cities and remote areas, affecting almost every part of the Republic of Cameroon. Better still, all parts of the Republic of Cameroon. Will still be talking about the problem of bad roads this time around in the locality of Bangem in the southwest region of the country. This is a problem that is adversely affecting business and of course farmers who are more concerned with this problem because of their difficulties, or the difficulties they are facing in transporting farm products from the farms to the markets. Innocent has more.
Bangem is endowed with fertile soil which has favored plantation agriculture. Food crops like plantains, cassava, Cocoyams, including cash crops like coffee, cocoa, to mention but these, are grown in these parts of the Kupe Maningoba division of the Southwest region abundantly. They are given at takeaway prices to retailers, also called them bayam-salams, who smile but lament over expensive evacuation from Bangem to Douala markets. This is as a result of the muddy seasonal roads linking the farms and markets.
We buy plenty for here. We buy for cheap plus. For bring our men on now, motor the overtake money because we don't spoil.
Transporters charge high fare. That is between 70,000 to 80,000 francs CFA, depending on the state of roads. Bayam-salams are still compelled to pay a token if the vehicle is stuck in mud.
This highway there for years, so we give money, they carry stone, put petrol, they carry and come put up.
Also, traveling from Melong to Bangem alone, that is about 30 kilometers, cost 5,000 francs for a motorbike. The Anglophone crisis, which has posed a lot of insecurity, has also scared buyers of these farm outputs. While the farmers plead government ensures return of peace so that they can have more customers and sell at a higher price in order to generate income, the customers, bayam-salams, who buy cheap, beg that these deplorable roads are tarred so as to spend less and flexibly transport this farm produce to markets.
Now we go up north to the Adamawa region of the country, where inhabitants are complaining over a curfew imposed by the governor as a result of growing insecurity since January 2019. The curfew has adversely affected business, and of course the curfew, as indicated, was imposed because of security threats in that part of the country. It should be noted that the rate of abductions has been on the rise in the Adamawa region. Hemin Iluga has more.
The high rate of insecurity in Bankim, Abanyo, amongst other localities in the Adamawa region of the country, formally led to a curfew ordered by the governor of the said region. A curfew which had as target securing local communities. The dwellers, however, take the decision with a pinch of salt.
Yeah. So if they say we cannot work in the night, in fact they still is stopping us a lot. Because at times in the afternoon there is no work. In the evening people move from one place to another and can catch up. So for me, in fact, it will be better for us. If you have your identification, it will be better for us to continue to work in the night. Even you can say latest midnight, we can end the work.
For 8 o'clock for evening, may all machines then lock. When they see machine for outside, they catch up. They go lock up.
As declared by the governor, the curfew runs from 8 p.m. till 6 a.m. And though not executed in all areas, some inhabitants say they have been negatively impacted in their activities since February 2019, when the governor announced the curfew. At night, no clients, we can't sell. When we close, we walk on foot to get to our home. We are exposed to lots of risk. For instance, I depend on little trading on my table. And at night, when I close, I trek to the house because there are no bikes. Now all has changed. What we sold at first, we can't meet up with now. According to some dwellers, the decision taken by the governor is not necessary in their zones, as they say it is precisely the Mayo Banyo hit with persistent kidnappings.
Yeah. Why the authority let us to know about this was because the crisis of the northwest and southwest that is already near the Asonkolong, that there are maybe ambassadors that may come here and the bike is the easy way that they can travel from one area to another. So if it's that we are the one in this town, they know us. If you can carry a person that they know him very well, but I don't see the reason why they will disturb you not to work. If it's a stranger, the person that they don't know, they ask for identification. If he's unable to identify himself, they can keep him, not to disturb everybody, because people don't have the same problem.
As it's now, the people are managing to carry on with their daily activities while doing their best to respect the curfew. The decision taken by Governor Abubakar Bekum runs till further notice.
Survivors of the Zika train accident accusing members of the commission in charge of distributing President Paul Biya's aid to them of attempts to cheat. And of course, they say that the money is not evenly distributed. For me, Armstrong Sander reports. For me, Armstrong Sander on that report concerning the distribution of President Paul Biya's aid to victims of the Zika train accident. On to something else now. We'll talk about the statistics, notably concerning the rate of HIV/AIDS in the Republic of Cameroon. Despite the slight reduction, the disease is still prevailing and making its way through the population, notably the young people in the Republic of Cameroon, notably those in the east region of the country. Details with Immaculate Fogwe.
Despite multiple efforts put in place by the Ministry of Public Health to combat the HIV and AIDS virus in Cameroon, the virus is still gaining grounds, though at a rate likely lower than previous years. According to statistics carried out, infected persons were rated at 7.2% in the South region. Recent investigations carried out by Camphia says 6.3% were infected in 2018, causing the region to experience a 0.9% drop, though it remains the most infected region. Though witnessing a 0.9% drop, the statistics gotten in the South region is superior to that of the national territory, which stands at 3.5%, with youths being the most infected. It is for this reason that an AIDS-free holiday campaign was organized in the South region of Cameroon.
Yes, I'm conscious of what we are going to start as from tomorrow. What we are going to do tomorrow is to sensibilize youths, young men and women on the various methods of prevention, symptoms of AIDS and contraction of AIDS.
During the campaign, free AIDS screening was carried out and administrative authorities cautioned the youths on how to judiciously use their time during the holidays by sensitizing their peers to avoid contracting the disease. HIV and AIDS is real. Prevention is better than cure.
Cameroon's former Prime Minister Sadou Ayatou has been laid to rest in his native Garoua in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon. His mortal remains arrived through the Yaoundé-Simaleng International Airport yesterday from Switzerland, where he died recently. That was on the 1st of August 2019. And of course, the mortal remains of Sadou Ayatou was immediately transported to Garoua. And of course, the head of state was represented at the state burial decreed by the President of the Republic, by Tanganji Paul, Minister of Territorial Administration. And of course, Sadou Ayatou, he should be recalled, is remembered for his participation or his role in the Tripartite Conference of 1991. He died at the age of 77. Out of Cameroon, the death toll of children in the crisis hitting the country Mali is on the rise, and of course a new report of the United Nations Children's Emergency reveals that twice as many children have been killed in the first half of this year than in all of 2018. It says that more than 150 were killed between January and the end of June this year, despite recent ceasefire deals between the government and armed groups. Insecurity is deteriorating in the center of the country. Most attacks in the area are believed to be perpetrated by armed militias. UNICEF, that is the United Nations Emergency Children's Fund, says a recruitment of children to armed groups has doubled in comparison to the same period last year. The United Nations report says other children were injured, displaced, and separated from their families. Malian authorities are under growing pressure to appease tensions. And before we go over to the second part of this newscast, I should indicate that contrary to information indicated earlier at the beginning of this newscast, latest information streaming in to our newsroom indicate that no life has been lost in the accident that occurred a few minutes ago at Marché Sandaga here in the economic capital, Douala. Coming up next, Talking Point. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us in Talking Points. We're going to be talking about another media practitioner in the Republic of Cameroon arrested and detained in the southwest region of the country. Samuel Wazizi of CMTV in the southwest regional chief town, Boya, has been detained for close to 2 weeks now incommunicado, and we are receiving a legal mind in this newscast. Barrister Tamfu Richard, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Babila.
What's your take about the situation of journalists in the Republic of Cameroon who are threatened, arrested, and detained? Today we are talking about the case of Samuel Wazizi of CMTV in Boya, who has been missing for several days today. Even his lawyer does not know where he is being detained.
You see, this country has no respect for people. I don't see how you arrest a journalist who is doing his job and you keep him incommunicado without even his lawyer having access to him. So to me, I think we are still repeating the very mistakes we are fond of doing, violating basic human rights. We have a constitution that clearly enshrines freedom of expression and maybe speech, and I think the journalism profession is regulated by an instrument of law, which to me, I don't see why a journalist who is covering an incident or reporting on something should be arrested. If you decide to seal the mouth of the journalist or that of the lawyer, then who will be the person to speak or to report incidents to the civil society? To me, I think this country has reached a level where you don't know what may happen tomorrow. People who are in command today take the pleasure in violating the laws the laws that have been voted, and nobody cares. We are all witnesses of all the incidences that are happening, how nothing is functioning. Of late, you saw what happened in the prisons. Lawyers are threatened. Lawyers who went to the field to do investigations are being threatened. You see, it's very difficult. So to me, we just have to continue mobilizing. I know that journalists have international organs that protect them and national organs that also protect them. I think they should continue to press hard on the government to make sure that Samuel's rights are respected.
What does the law say about incommunicado detention?
Sincerely, as a lawyer, I came to realize it when this crisis all started, that they could arrest somebody without any warrant and keep him for some months without communication. To me, I don't think there is a legislation even that on terrorism doesn't prescribe that. Even if you are charged for terrorism, it doesn't suppress or it doesn't stop you from having a lawyer, from having a visit of a medical doctor, or from eating. Okay, when they are keeping him there incommunicado, Maybe the family members don't even know where he is.
Even the lawyer does not
know. The lawyer does not
know.
know. So what therefore is the role of the lawyer? If somebody is in difficulty, you see that we are lost. Actually, you can't see which text permits them to keep someone incommunicado. So I think they have decided to take the laws into their hands, and they are using it on us as they think and as they feel. Because if not only God that can come down to save Samuel at this time, I don't see who else will do it, because his lawyers maybe who have gone there have been unable. Family members have been unable. So until the Lord decides to free him or give him access to lawyers before he can be.
And after several days of detention, his lawyer told me the different institutions of law and other were playing some kind of ping-pong game. He went to the Muya police station. They told him he's at the motorized infantry battalion. He goes there. The motorized infantry battalion says there are no detention, there are no cells here. He is not here. He goes to the judicial police. Nobody knows where he is. How can we explain? How can we understand this?
I think it's beyond comprehension. I don't know if we have secret hideouts that they will pick you up, go and keep you, and then nobody has access to. I don't know what is the reasoning behind that. If you believe that someone has maybe infringed a provision of the law, arrest him. Follow the legal procedure to arrest him. Respect his rights. Investigate him, and if you find that there is enough evidence to charge him, charge him. Why are you keeping him incommunicado? Is that kidnapping, or I don't know? Do you want to kill him? I don't understand at which stage of the investigation of the procedure we are. So to me, it's a gross violation of basic human rights, and it makes the work of lawyers very difficult, because you can't have access to your client. You can't walk. Look like the way the lawyer went to tell him that he's there. He goes there, they say he's... Finally, at the end of the day, the lawyer is lost. He can't even see exactly with precision where his client is. So to me, I think
he's been accused of collaborating with separatist fighters, circulating their messages of ghost town and so on, and then offering his farmland for a camp of separatists. The accusations that are leveled against him. He has, however, denied all these accusations. At one point, journalists went there, the syndicate of journalists went to see him, and he told them that his farmland is there. Everybody can go there and see if there is any Ambazonian camp there. But these accusations, are they worth the reason to be keeping him?
Without having first-hand information about all these allegations, I think that he is a journalist, and we are faced with a civil war. We are faced with an armed conflict. And I think that as a role of the journalist is to report on both sides. If, for example, he's reporting on armed separatists and at the same time reporting on the Republican government, I don't see why they should tag him to being part of the separatists when you don't have his first-hand evidence on him participating into the activities. If he's simply doing his job as a journalist, to me, I don't see where there is a problem. If he commits any professional fault, okay, draw his attention to it or call him to respond to it. And even if it is clear that he is having some links with separatists, yes, he has committed maybe an offense that you think you can investigate. Open up your investigations, follow up what is prescribed by the Criminal Procedure Code, and then bring him to court for him to defend himself. So to me, I think the regime is under its repressive style to suppress people who are able to talk. And like I tell you, no one is free, because the journalists today is facing it, lawyers are facing it, and we keep on moving, and the country is crumbling, as we are all seeing. Nothing is moving.
And the media practitioners have been calling for his immediate and unconditional release.
Yes, I think the media should also mobilize, same as they did for Mimi Mefo. It is one of your colleagues. If you estimate that the laws have not been respected vis-a-vis him, within your syndicate, you have measures that you can push the government to give an account. The government should tell you where he is, what has he done, and then if he has committed a crime, they should prosecute him. I think you people should also mobilize as you did same for Mimefo, if not because of social pressure and professional pressures. Mimefo was also in the same pot of soup.
All right, now let's talk about back to school. Everybody is campaigning. Children should go back to school and so on and so forth.
Yes, to me, for one, I am for the back to school because this is 3 years already that children are not going to school. I don't see how this armed conflict is benefiting you and I. Today, these children are not going to school. That's 3 years wasted. I don't know if the intention of the government is to produce more thieves or more armed groups. I don't know.
More prostitutes?
Of course. So to me, I am for the back to school, and I think that it is the responsibility of the government to make the environment conducive. When you ask children to go to school and you still have your militaries all over, how are those children going to study? So a lot of recommendations have been made, and if the government was honest, I don't think that those measures were impossible for it to be put in place so that children should be free to go to school. So
the government will say that the military has to be there to protect the children. If they leave the children like that,
yes, because
it may be very disastrous.
Yeah, it may be very disastrous because we have not moved an inch in a bid to resolving this crisis. You hear negotiations are ongoing. At the end of the day, you don't hear anything. You give recommendations that the military everybody should drop their arms. You don't get it immediately. So, to me, I think there is no honesty in resolving this armed conflict. This armed conflict is benefiting some people. So long as it is perduring, I think, be it the Republic, be it the government, Cameroon government, or the armed separatists, some people are making it very big. But to me, I pity the civil society who is victim in this armed conflict, because you can't go to school, you don't have where to refuge, you can't, your crops are destroyed, your houses are destroyed. You see how the population of how Douala is crowded. So to me, I think this thing has to stop, and the only person who has that capacity to stop this is the head of state, because in a world nobody is strong. We are all losing. You are not able to carry on your activities, I'm not able to carry on my activity. I think one person has to step up and put an end to this. So I'm for the good back to school, because that's the basic right that you can give a child. They are innocent kids. So what is their own problem into this conflict?
Few weeks to September 2nd. What do you think President Paul Biya can do now if you were called to advise him, to tell him what to do at this?
Mr. Babila, ever since this crisis began, has Biya taken 10 minutes to address Cameroonians on this issue? No. So there is no willingness even on his part to resolve it. Biya has not taken any minute to say, okay, let's address this issue. I saw
he has spoken about the crisis in some speeches that he has made.
Speaking about the crisis, why not say, okay, I want to address the nation with respect to seeing how we put an end to the Anglophone crisis. I know all ears will be attentive to listen. And if he has to put in place or implement the recommendations that have been given to him from all the bodies, be it national or international, this crisis can be ended.
Recommendations intended to destabilize Cameroon. That's how some of the recommendations, some of the requirements from international organizations, NGOs are qualified, that they are intended to destabilize Cameroon.
No, we like using big words. Destabilizing Cameroon. International bodies are trying to resolve.
Some of the figures are inflated, some of the facts are not true, and so on.
Sincerely, to me, I think there is still a possibility of resolving this conflict. And the person who is having those powers to do it is the head of state. Let him address this issue once and for all. You see, even at the level of the National Assembly, this crisis has not really been aired. They have not really discussed it. So I think if there is no forum for any discussion, and then you want that the crisis to stop, to me, I think it is benefiting some people. So we should stop pretending that we are want to resolve the crisis when we are doing nothing.
Barrister Tamfu Richard, before we go, have a last word?
Well, to me, my only last word is that I really pray to see this crisis come to an end, because a lot of violations are being meted on poor citizens, and we do not merit it. We pray to have the peace that Cameroon used to have. So the earlier this thing comes to an end, the better for us. Thanks, Barrister Tamfu Richard. You're a member of the Cameroon Bar Association and the Nigerian Bar as well. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.